And here we go, Sports Card Advantage, episode 14. We're going to do this for real this time. We just got about 10 minutes in, and I forgot to hit the record button. So here we go again. How you doing, Bunk?
I'm good. I'll try not to repeat myself.
Yes, try not to repeat yourself. So for today, our main event, we're going to be talking about the Whatnot app.
June 15th, 9:50 at night.
Yeah, June 15th, 9:50 at night for today's recording. Usually I save that for when we start talking about the investments, but we'll get it out of the way now.
Oh, all right.
Main event, we're going to be talking about the Whatnot app. For those of you that don't know, the Whatnot app is an app that is a hybrid of eBay, StockX, and basically Instagram Live. You have a lot of live auction rooms, auctions starting at $1, place to buy wax, a place to break cards. They have sports cards, they have collectibles, they have memorabilia, they have Pokemon, so it's a good mix of stuff. They recently received a $50 million investment from a venture capital firm. So you are starting to see the promotion across the hobby with your favorite breakers. Recently I've seen guys that from Pull Kings, guys from Rip and Wax, guys from Pull Wax, all promoting this app. And so they're starting to try and get some mainstream adoption and moving people on it. So what do you think of this new app and this new hobby culture for this type of stuff?
It just makes me think that the hobby's going strong, and just another avenue for people to find and spend their money on cards, and any expansion of anything in that department is only a plus.
Yeah, I mean this app truly looks like it's a way for people to feed their needs, scratch that itch, get into these live auctions where it's, a 1 minute countdown. And, it seems to be that they're using the same type of auction timer that you get in some of your fantasy sports auction drafts, where you get within 10 seconds. And as soon as the new bid comes in, the clock resets to, another 10 seconds. And you get a whole nother flurry of bids. Unlike eBay, when you get within 10 seconds, the timer runs out, and whatever you get as far as the bidding is concerned. So it's definitely a twist, and it's definitely some serious degenerate behavior. And you have the younger generation of the hobby in here, with a whole lot of "let's go" and everybody getting hype and trying to like build the hype. And
Fire emoji, stock emoji.
exactly, up arrow, and it's for older folks like us. It's, I don't know, it's just a whole lot of fanfare for $20 slabs, because that's what I saw during, the last few times that I've been on. Nothing really high end, max that I really saw, other than some of the hobby wax that was for sale, was like $100, and a lot of this stuff is just raw cards that, are going for like $20 to $30 that they're throwing out there. So it is a cool idea. But, I want to see some of the other different types of personalities and some of the, other higher end stuff that I'm into, start getting shown on the app before I'm really like on it regularly.
Yeah, I mean, middle of the day today, the live auction rooms I were I mean, definitely a cool concept. I saw nothing I would ever buy, and I don't have the attention span nor the patience for the yelling and the commentary and the stuff that was going on in those rooms. But I mean, to your point, the nice thing about those 1 minute auctions is if you actually come across a card you like, and instead of just making your final offer on eBay or something like that, you keep getting this extra 10 seconds to decide, all right, I want that. Let me punch another bid and see if you can snake something. I mean, it's a cool concept.
Yeah, and it definitely has that feel where you can try to bid somebody up and drop a card in their lap that may be overpriced, similar to what you may do in a fantasy draft, The one really cool thing that I saw today was that there was a guy doing a live auction for a box that he was opening at the time. So as he was opening packs, people could continue to bid based on, what he was pulling out. So if something big popped up, people would start jacking their bids up, and, it really enables the viewer to pay a more accurate price of, what's in the box versus, versus, pure speculation about what the box is worth. And you pay your part for a break and you get what you get. So I thought that was a really cool twist on it, and could be fun for people, and really helps you not overpay for stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you get to see. I mean, again, I think right now everything I saw was more directed to the low end collector anyway. So you open some of these packs and you're building a set, and no one seems to be bidding on it because there's not a hit in it. But you're like, well, geez, I'll take those cards for $2 instead of the $10 for a pack or whatever. Let someone else overpay for the big time pack.
Yeah, absolutely. And, so I also wanted to see they have, sealed wax for sale as well. And, so I wanted to see how that compared. So I looked at, I believe the two things that I looked at today were 2021 NBA Prism Hobby and a 2020 Topps Chrome Hobby box for baseball. And for the Prism, I did, people can list their own price. There was a box that was available for about $100 below what you could find it on eBay or Steel City or DA or one of those. Even though those always make me skeptical because I'm concerned that the case hits or the big hits out of the case are already gone, and that's just the straggler box. But still $100 less than you can get it from those sites. The Topps Chrome, on the other hand, the lowest available price was $375, and that was about 60 or $70 above where you could get it from eBay or Steel City. So it's hit or miss on whether or not you can get a deal on whatnot for sealed wax. So get on there, check it out for yourself, see if it's something that you find deals or find stuff that you're interested in.
Yeah, and the competition will only build as more eyes get in the app, more people sell on the app. And then right now there's not a lot of competition, so people are just trying to get what they can get. But you got five people selling those boxes, then you're gonna have to start pricing accordingly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that stuff like this and getting innovative is only going to continue to grow. Obviously everybody knows that the market is soft right now, just as far as prices go on base high pop stuff. But smaller stuff like that, like this, people are still spending. Higher end stuff, people are still spending. So the money's there and people are still buying stuff. They're just better educated and, have more resources and have a better feel for value, I think, right now.
Yeah, I mean, I was in one room earlier. I saw 25 different Pokemon slabs. Every single one of them sold,
Yeah.
and every single one had multiple bids. I mean, people were fighting over them a bit. In the middle of the day, there was only about 40 to 60 eyeballs per room on some of these live auctions. I just looked right now. There's a breaker on right now doing some ripping some packs and something there. He's got over 200 people in his room right now watching
Yeah,
and spending money,
which is
which is
actually
nice.
really good as far as that goes. Normally on some of these bigger breakers on Instagram Live, you get 150 to 200 on the bigger ones. And then the other thing too, supposedly, Whatnot is doing like background checks and verifications for the guys that are actively breaking, and it's not just something where you can sign up like Instagram, throw your camera on, and press go. You actually have to go through an application and verification process for opening and breaking on Whatnot, so that they're trying to provide you additional comfort and security in who you're participating in breaks with. So
So you feel better about giving them some fees
I guess
because Instagram's not taking fees if you're breaking on Instagram, right?
true, but
So I wonder. Oh, I don't know what Not's taking, but
they may be taking that from, I don't know. Like I haven't bought anything, from there as far as that goes, but
No, I mean seller fees.
I don't know. Like, as far as that, I think it's more they're gonna take stuff when you purchase. They're gonna take a percentage out of that, similar to like a payment processor.
Oh, I see. Oh, so you don't actually you don't have a end of the month statement, if you will. You just get a piece less of the final value.
Yeah, so if you're gonna buy into a
That'd
break
be cool.
for $100, Whatnot is probably gonna take a percentage out of that $100, and that may come out of the breaker's end versus yours. So that's always the game of the hidden numbers, and you know, if the break would cost $1,000 on Instagram, they may shoot it up to 1,100 on Whatnot so that they can cover their fees. But I mean, having it so that you're not just breaking with some schlep, I'm not sure it's particularly worth it. I mean, find a guy that has a decent following on YouTube or Instagram, and more than likely, they're not ripping people off.
Yeah, I mean the bottom line with this is it's just beginning. I think to your point with innovation, I think you're going to see some other things come about through the app of ways to sell cards and buy the cards. And there's plenty of money. All I see I'm looking right now at all these live auctions, just sold, 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 sold.
Yeah, I mean there's definitely people spending, and so it's more just a matter of, yes, there are certain things that may be soft, but there's other things that are flying off the shelves, and people are spending their cash. So it's like any other market. I've said it 1,000 times, and I'm going to keep beating the drum. It's any other market. Certain things get soft, certain things go down, and other things go up. I mean, higher end stuff, every freaking day you see records that are being set of cards that are in the thousands of dollars and up, that are lower pop, more scarce. Every single day you're seeing records get set with those. So I think that's just right now where we're gravitating towards, and we'll see what the card companies are going to do to potentially curtail the printing of base to make those a little bit more scarce, to try to bring those values back. I mean, that's one lever that card companies have to pull. And so not to get completely off topic, but I think that may be something that happens if the value of base completely disappears. Your card companies may not print 50,000, base prism, card that you can get, send in for grading, and maybe they print less. So, we'll see.
Be music to the grading companies' ears.
Yeah, well, I mean, none of them are fucking open right now, other than SGC and basically HGA. But we'll see. We'll see what happens when PSA comes back in 2 weeks, and they're just gonna get dumped on in 2 weeks as soon as they open their doors again.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see. We've talked about it, but it'd be interesting to see the pricing, the service, the new, if there are new service levels, and does it change people from sending 100 base cards?
Yep, we shall see. All right, moving on. Guy, guess what we're talking about today?
I don't know, guy. What are we talking about?
We're talking about hockey.
What?
Talking about hockey for the first time in Sports Card Advantage podcast history.
Is that on the show sheet?
We're talking hockey. We're moving on to the investment lottery section of the podcast, and I'm going to kick it off with hockey. And first and foremost, we are talking 1985 Topps Mario Lemieux. Give me 1 second. I'm going to bring up my charts here. And we're going to look at this. And we're going to look at a specific Lemieux card. We are looking at the 1985 Topps Mario Lemieux PSA 9, not PSA 10. The PSA 10, I'll look at that. We'll go over that chart in a second. So the reason why we're looking at this is simply because, right now, current price is $1,000, less than $1,000. And, as far as when you talk about top 5 hockey players all time, usually Gordie Howe and Wayne Gretzky are 1 and 2, just depending on your personal opinion. And Lemieux is in that conversation right there. And I just think that there is a tremendous gap in price between your Lemieux cards and your Gretzky cards. A 1979 O-Pee-Chee Gretzky PSA 9 is selling for $55,000. A 1985 Mario Lemieux PSA 9 is selling for $1,000, less than $1,000. If you look at the last few auctions, June 2nd, June 4th, June 5th, all three of those closed for less than $1,000. The population on these is less than 1,000, and Mario Lemieux, depending on who you want to talk to, could be your third best hockey player of all time, and that seems to me that value is very off. So he is number one on my hockey list for today. If you look at his PSA 10, his PSA 10 chart has gone through the roof. But even his PSA 10 chart, current price last sold for $15,000. The Gretzky PSA 10 last sold for $3.7 million. So it definitely seems like, this is drastically underpriced in comparison to where the Gretzky stuff is at. And, his PSA 10 has seen literally nothing but up arrow, for the last 2 years. And
so what's the pop on the 10?
The pop on the 10 is 76.
There's only one Beckett 10, just FYI.
And okay. The Gretzky PSA 9, your pop is 127, and that's selling, let's say, $55,000. So even though that the population numbers are different by about 800, it shouldn't make up for a 50x multiplier.
He's the great one, guy.
I understand that he's a great one, but Mario wasn't too bad.
I hear you. It seems like you would think they'd be a little closer, and at the very least, Mario would be a lot higher. Maybe not even approaching Gretzky, but you'd expect that to be higher. But
yeah, $980, for Mario Lemieux rookie with a relatively low pop. To me, it should be a no-brainer as far as that's concerned, and something that I would definitely think that you'd want to put in, buy and hold. His PSA 8s at auction are going for less than $500 on Lemieux.
What's the Lemieux 9 population?
Lemieux 9 population is 939.
All right, compared to BGS has 238, and that's selling for about 850.
The BGS 9.5.
No, the BGS 9.
Oh, the BGS 9. What do you got for BGS 9.5?
There's only 25 of them, and there hasn't been any sales.
Wow.
The harder grading company, and there's only 110. 110.
Yeah,
I wasn't clear the first time.
There's 76 PSA 10s on this. So, as I said, I think that your PSA 9 Lemieux is a tremendous investment at $980. We're also going to be talking a little bit of Steve Eiserman. Steve Eiserman is a name from the best hockey video game of all time, NHL 94.
94.
So yeah, we're going to be looking at the Eiserman.
Super Nintendo.
Yeah, Super Nintendo. We're going to be looking at the Eiserman 1984 O-Pee-Chee PSA 9. Also, Eiserman regarded as a top 10 hockey player of all time. His PSA 9s pop 657. Last few auction sales, 685, 565. So in my opinion, these are also great deals. They don't come up very often, as far as, a couple times a month, there's auctions on eBay on these. So if you're into hockey, I think other than Gretzky, which obviously is tremendously expensive, I think if you start looking at the other top 10 list of hockey players, greatest of all time, there's tremendous value there. Look at top 10 basketball players of all time. Any of their rookie cards, PSA 9s, are easily way more expensive than this. Baseball is, infinitely more expensive, even football. Your top 10 players of all time. So hockey doesn't have the same popularity, but at the same time, the pops are low, and it's still one of the four major sports. So it seems to be lagging behind, and I think you'll see some buying opportunities here.
How many nines and tens you got?
PSA 9 is 657. PSA 10 is 115.
Okay. There's two BGS 10s, Jeff.
Oh, there you go. And your PSA 10 last sale was $5,000.
Wow.
In comparison to, that's a third of what Lemieux is, and compared to $3.7 million for Gretzky.
Well, I think the biggest takeaway there is especially to your point on Mario, is if the PSA 10 keeps going up, there's only a matter of time before the 9. So you look to the alternative. Okay, the 10's nowhere in my stratosphere as in terms of being able to afford it, but I want it. I want that card, so I'm going to look at a 9. That's going to drive the 9 prices up.
Yeah, and if you look at the auctions, there was a fixed price at 800, but if you look at the actual auctions, some of these are closing in the $500 to $600 range, which is a tenth of where the PSA 10 is. So I love the value here on some of these greatest hockey players of all time. Relatively low pops, and very, very affordable at less than $1,000 for both Lemieux and Eiserman.
Yeah, I mean, it really just comes down to, I guess, the popularity of the sport right now. No.
Yeah, and the biggest thing that hockey is trying to do is bring the sport back into national TV. They signed a deal not too long ago that's going to bring hockey into mainstream network television prime time, and I believe that starts next year. So, you'll see hopefully a resurgence in hockey and the popularity of hockey. And, you could be looking at some great investments, buying and holding these for the next 12 to 24 months at a minimum, and seeing where the prices go. We will turn it over to you, Guy. I believe you have a couple of baseball things to talk about. What are we talking about?
I don't know, guy. I thought we were going through your list of ladder cards here.
Do you want to go last then for your investment here?
You got more cards you're going to talk about?
I got two more.
Yeah, no, I'll throw in a quick investment. You always ask me what do I look for when I'm looking for cards to buy and turn over. And I talked to you when we were chatting before we started. I was buried in the minor league box scores, which I'm in there every day.
You're obsessed with and telling me how good Wander is every day.
I'm just letting you know. Since you dismissed him as a prospect.
He's too short. All right, continue.
So I'm always looking. I mean, listen, there's a billion guys. I mean, everyone drafted a freaking prospect. So you can have your pick of a litter of who you want to try to put an investment in. And everyone's in love with first Bowman cards, right? That's the player's first card. So I'm obsessed with Bowman's best, as you know. So I try to make it a thing that the player's first Bowman's best card is the card to own sometimes. So in any event, we're looking at the Detroit Tigers, Dylan Dingler.
Great. Dylan Dingler?
Great name.
I wonder if he got called Dinglerberry in school.
You'll have to ask him when he's in the show. But he gets overshadowed by, the Tigers took Torkelson 1 in the first round, and they took Dingler, who's a catcher, in the second round. They both just got called up to Double-A today. The Tigers really, they don't have any tremendous catching prospects on their depth chart there. So if he can prove he can hit and get his way up there, I like his Bowman's Best 2020 autograph card. Can be had for $15 right now. And that's what I've been looking at this week, and going to keep my eye on Mr. Dingler.
I'm trying to bring it up on eBay right now. So yeah, that's actually a really cool looking card.
Yeah, the Bowman's Best always has cool designs, and this year was really cool.
Nice. Yeah, you got a couple of one guy is trying to be real greedy with $96, but Another $39.99 or best offer. Got one auction that's closing in a few days at $6 right now.
Yeah, they've been closing 15 to 20 bucks. You know, he's got tremendous power. Ohio State guy. You know, we'll see what happens. Listen, I can't predict what he's going to do,
Yeah.
but I can read what I can read, and I can see what he's doing in the minors, and I can look at the
What
prices that cards are going for.
what position does he play?
He's a catcher.
Okay.
Quickest way to the show.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the design of the card is awesome. I mean, if you could get this thing in a slab, that'd be just a really cool looking card. So definitely,
Yeah, especially you get a cheap one at auction. Plus, you know, Bowman's Best doesn't have an infinite number of color parallels, but they got some cool ones, and you can definitely get some cheap raw ones of his right now.
so school me a little bit as far as what we're looking at here. Don't normally do they not put the little RC rookie card on there until they're actually in the show? Is that how
Yeah,
this
we'll
works?
have to do a whole segment on what constitutes rookie card logo on a player and how they get their self and how tops constitutes who's rookies in their update sets and such. That's a whole nother topic. But yeah, the first Bowman cards and the first prospect, they're called prospect cards in some of these sets, they will not have a rookie card logo on them.
Gotcha. Why don't you turn the camera on, record some content every now and again, and help us put some stuff on Instagram here, guy.
Oh, I could do that for you.
Yeah, make me a little segment on what rookie cards are, and then we can cover it a little bit on the podcast. Are you talking Frank Thomas as well? 1990 Frank Thomas?
Yeah, I was just looking. I saw your list of like the cards you're looking at. I was like, man, I gotta find myself a nice recent Hall of Famer of a guy I grew up watching, and see which one of those I'd really want. And I was looking through Frank Thomas rookie cards, and I decided the one I wanted the most, maybe not the coolest looking one, but I had a ton of this card as a kid. Of this product was the 1990 Bowman one, and
Okay.
I purely based that on it had pretty much across the board minus some of your obscure sets, it had the lowest overall pop for a flagship type card, both in BGS and PSA.
Okay. What do we got for prices and pops on this?
Well, so your 1990 Bowman Thomas BGS 9.5 only has 76 cards. So
Okay.
I didn't even find a recent sale. There's some guy popping $300 by it right now, but I think that's too high compared to the 600 PSA 10s that are out there and the 1600 PSA 9s.
Wow. That's a lot of PSA 10s
Right. So
compared to.
if you can catch a 90 Bowman Thomas at auction, I mean, obviously you're going to be dealing with people who also know the pop's low. But if you can get that for close to a PSA 10 or a little above, I think you're doing yourself a big favor.
What's the price on the PSA 10s?
I think it's roughly $100, a little more.
Okay. So yeah, if you can get a BGS 9.5 for right around 100, that's what you'd be
Yeah,
looking
I don't
at.
think you will. I think because even the guy selling it right now is advertising it with his fire emoji and puts the pop report right in the title.
Let's
So
go, fire emoji.
yeah, LFG.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Um.
yeah, it's my favorite one, and I think why it's a tough grade too, because anyone who owned 90 Bowman, they were like really soft stock cards. Like you look at it and the corners dinged and it got rounded.
Yeah.
So
And that's interesting that you have somebody who's Major League Baseball Hall of Famer, regarded as probably one of the best hitting first baseman or top 5 best hitting first baseman of all time, and relatively low pops, and you're talking $100. That seems to be super cheap for something that will hopefully appreciate in value as the years go on.
yeah, I'm pulling up the Frank right now, PSA 10.
Why don't you do that, guy?
Yeah, yeah, a little over $100, $120.
Yeah, I mean, definitely seems like that's a buy and hold. It's definitely probably not a flip, but buy and hold, stick it in the drawer, and check back in on it in a few years and see where it's at. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you're buying a Frank Thomas rookie card, you're not buying that to flip it over.
no, I mean,
You're buying that because you're holding on to it. And if you're buying to hold on to it, that's to our point in a lot of other shows is I want the rarer one.
yeah, you want the rarer one, and it's something that you hold on to for longer term value and see where the market's going to go. And like everything, we try to, provide things that have relatively low downside risk with, upside potential.
Yeah,
And
and we've all seen the all the stat gifs and stuff, or at least I have. If you compare, Frank Thomas's first whatever seasons to Mike Thomas's first, you're taking Frank Thomas number one overall every single time.
I mean,
And when you compare those stats, so and we don't know how obviously how Mike Trout's going to finish, but you're looking at the first 8 years. Give me Frank Thomas. So when the dust settles in 20 years, it might be that Frank Thomas with that less than 100 pop that outsells Mike. Who knows?
that is a hot take that we have not even gotten to yet, but I will take that action that Frank Thomas will not ever outsell Mike Trout, but we'll see in 20 years. But for $100, it's worth it to grab it and throw it in a drawer in the safe in wherever and see where it goes for the next whatever. And more than likely, you're talking about max 20 to $30 of downside risk with potentially hundreds, if not thousands of dollars of upside.
Yeah, so I just put that on my eBay save list, and I've got a list of about 15 cards right now that I'll be looking this off season.
Alrighty, I'm gonna close this out with one more baseball. I had another football, but we'll save it for next week. We're gonna be talking Bobby Witt.
Bobby Witt. I thought we were doing David Ortiz.
Nah. Next guy, you're completely spoiling the list here. Next week we'll talk a little Big Poppy.
Well, people want to hear this Yankee fan talk about Big Poppy next week. I promise you that.
We'll get there when we get there. Keep your pants on for another few days. All right, let's talk Bobby Witt. Bobby Witt, similar situation to Wander in that he had huge hype. His cards as of the end of last year, 2020, they were selling. We're talking tops. What are we talking here? We're talking Bowman Chrome, first Bowman, prospects, PSA 10. Those are selling for $50. And guys, stop shaking your knee. I can hear it at the table and on the mic. $50 ish, $75. End of last year, shot all the way up to 400. And like everything else in the hobby, you saw about a 76% retracement from that 400 to about $130 and has now settled into the $150 range. Once again, Witt is playing well in the minors. And he had 2 home runs the other day. I think one got taken away for some fluke because he missed home plate. But I mean, either way, he's playing well in the minors, and at some point he's going to get a call up. And whenever he gets a call up, expect that price to shoot up. So this is definitely more of a short-term flip. And your population on Witt compared to Wander is about a fifth. So Wander's in the 4,000 to 5,000 pop on this card, and Witt is 720. Any thoughts?
Yeah,
any thoughts
and like
on
we
Witt?
always say, there's probably a lot of Witts going to be coming in mail day soon.
Yeah, I mean that is definitely true. You potentially have a lot of Bobby Witt at PSA, and but we'll see as those start to trickle in, and where the pops go.
Yeah, I mean, he's showing power at AA. He's still only hitting 240, so that's not turning people on too much. But yeah, listen, he's hyped as the Royals' future. He's gonna get his chance, and I love your analytics on the retracement. It's to a T, 80%, boom, floor.
Yeah,
he is who he is. Follow him, get in, and
yeah. I mean,
turn
we're
it
just
over.
for these types of things, same deal. We're trying to minimize downside risk and give you upside potential. And I find it eerily similar that if you start looking at the retracements across the board, it doesn't matter what sport, it doesn't matter what card and whatever. If there's any kind of volume as far as the amount of cards that are being bought and sold, you're seeing roughly 75% retracement across the board. Vintage basketball, modern basketball, baseball, minor leagues. I mean, anything that you're looking at, that's had retracements with the market getting soft, it's been about 70 to 80%. So, this is another guy who falls into that range and, potentially has some buying opportunity and is definitely more of a shorter term flip than the longer term holds that we talked about with Lemieux, Eiserman, and Frank Thomas. Anything else for this section, Guy?
No, Guy.
All right.
Go wander.
Go wander. Here we go. Sports card education. We're going to talk about something we talked about before, but we're just going to rehash it because we want to basically make sure that you're not overpaying for college uniform football. We know that the hype is real. Trevor Lawrence and, Trey Lance and Mac Jones and Jordan Fields and everybody else. Prism draft dropped this week. Boxes are selling for about $400, and which is obviously much cheaper than Prism football. Once the real Prism football drops, but you're gonna see some of this stuff hit eBay, and just to let you know some comparisons, college uniform stuff, once the pro stuff drops, sells for about 10 to 20% of the regular card value. So if you look at your base Prism draft, your auto Prism draft of college versus pro, it's about 10 to 20% of the value. So do not buy into this stuff now as it first hits eBay, because that's all people are doing is getting into these breaks and throwing it up on eBay immediately.
FOMO.
Yeah, 100%. And this year especially, I think wax prices and break prices and singles prices, when the new product drops with the NFL uniforms on, it's going to be berserk.
The quarterbacks will probably hold on for a little bit. I think that the quarterback's value will probably hang on for a little bit, but the money's going to be put on the NFL logo.
Oh yeah, I mean it's going to be crazy this year. I mean, you have the 5 quarterbacks, you have the 4 wide receivers, 3 or 4 wide receivers that are all big name guys coming out of big schools, partnering with their college quarterbacks, and the dual patch cards that are going to, I mean, it's going to be crazy once the NFL product drops, and I think you're going to see everything go up, and that may boost the whole market. It may just boost football, but come August, when I think the first big product that's going to drop is Mosaic for NFL uniforms, it's going to be insane.
Yeah, I mean, we got to go back and do a segment on those Topps artsy Trevor Lawrence boxes and see if those autographs are still holding their value once his NFL ones come out.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure those box prices dropped 50% within a few weeks. As soon as the first whatever it was, Leaf draft stuff dropped, and it was real college uniform versus him in a freaking hippie tie-dye t-shirt. I mean, those boxes sank like a stone. But I mean,
people spend big bucks on them now.
Guy,
I saw people selling the autographs for like $800.
If you would have listened to the Sports Card Advantage podcast, we told you to stay away from it. So, all right, we're gonna keep moving. We're approaching 40 minutes, so I want to try to not take forever here. We have one quick hot take, and that is concerning Jordan Love and Jalen Hurts. Will you be left holding the bag come September with these guys? And, it's, to me, I think that anything that you're spending on Jordan Love, other than some of his base stuff, which is still relatively low pop and, really affordable, I think you're playing with fire. And Jalen Hurts, like some of his Prism base cards are between $300 and $400. Burrow is $600 for reference, and other than 1 or 2 games, you haven't seen much from him. So there's a lot of FOMO and a lot of hype.
At least he plays. and is gonna play.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what happens with Rodgers, Love could be on the bench.
Rodgers isn't going anywhere.
Well, I mean, depending on what happens, we are not sports analysts. We are sports card analysts. Depending on what happens with Rodgers, Rodgers could come back for another 2 years and Love's on the bench. You don't know what's going to happen. And, his...
Well, yeah, well, especially for the prices, people. I mean, you could pay a fortune for Jordan Love, but then if he finally takes his first snap at 25, 26 years old, I mean...
Yeah, I mean,
you're going to have to get rid of it quick.
I saw a Jordan Love card, flawless, out of 10 auto that was selling for like 15 grand. I mean, it's just like, geez Louise. Like, you could be left holding a serious bag, especially if he sits this year, and B, if he steps on the field, if he doesn't play this year because Rodgers comes back and he comes back next year, and let's say Devontae Adams is gone because Rodgers left and Adams, I think, is in the last year of his deal. I mean, he's fucked. That offense and that team becomes a lot less without Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams.
Yeah, it just seems like for some of the higher end, that's a really big gamble.
Yeah,
that he's going to play.
Yep, I would agree. And those are two guys that are hobby darlings right now, and everybody's super hyped when they get those cards in the break. And to me, I think it's a coin flip. I would not be overly excited. And honestly, if you get a Hurts or a Love card in a break that's any kind of higher end, I'd flip it immediately.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I certainly can't get behind any Eagle. So,
well, regardless of the team, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, we'll see what Jalen Waddle. No, not Waddle.
But I'm giving Jalen Hurts a little more wiggle room here. I mean, let me see him start the season and see what he can do.
Yeah, I mean, it's all going to come down to Devonta Smith, whether or not he plays well, whether or not Rager has anything. I mean, but those guys are both small. And, see whether or not they can make that offense work.
I think Wander's taller.
He might be. All right. We're going to close out. Normally we close with Peanut Gallery, but I'm going to change it up a little bit here. And you got your first submissions back from Hga. Why don't you tell people about your experience firsthand dealing with that, the submission process, how long it took to get back, what you paid, and then your overall level of satisfaction with what came back.
So I sent a 18 Bowman's Best Soto refractor. And I have a handful of 93 SP Jeters that I have a couple really good looking ones that I haven't decided what I'm going to do or where I'm going to send them to get graded. But what I did was, and I've told a lot of people, I took the worst looking Jeter I had from 93 SP, and I just want to get it slabbed. I'm keeping it. It's not going anywhere, but I want it to be slabbed forever, and I want to know exactly what kind of condition it's in. So I didn't mind sending it, even though it's really not a card that you normally get graded. But the process is easy. I think I mentioned before, the Hga submission process is awesome.
Yeah.
You have it set up before you even get into one of their queued rooms that you can have your entire submission there. Granted, you got to win the lotto and get in an early position in line. But once you do, you're literally just clicking to pay because you've already put in the card specifics, the year, your declared values, and all that other stuff. It's all there. Drop down menus, piece of cake. In terms of the turnaround time, I did the 60-day submission level. I believe it's 60 business days. So you see a lot of people crying about, oh, it's been 2 months. I haven't got my cards back, but it's business days. So do the math appropriately. But we got it back, good turnaround time. I was very pleased with the overall turnaround time, about a week or so after whatever that time said.
Yeah.
The slabs are awesome. There is not a better plastic slab for whatever that's worth holding the card than Hga, in my opinion. I understand the sleekness of the PSA, why they're probably more preferred and people pay more for them over Beckett, even though they're totally disregarding the condition of the card. But the Hga slab is second. I mean, it's awesome.
Can I get a PSA versus BGS rant at some point? I want, and it doesn't have to be right now, but at some point you got to sit down when you're all fired up and hit the record button and just freaking go to town on PSA versus BGS. You keep dropping little nuggets in here as far as your hatred for PSA and
I
how
don't
we.
hate it. I just don't understand why it sells for so much more money.
Well, as I said, one day you gotta just sit down and go to town on that rant. But now
Great, you can fit more in a box because it's thinner.
when you
Let's
say best overall plastic slab, do you mean the actual like look of it or the actual
look, the
protection
look
of the
and feel.
card?
Yeah, yeah. Just holding it, whatever it's worth. Holding a card in your hand. The HGA slab. I'm a huge fan of
Okay, and then
the look, the feel, the shape.
were you happy with the grades that you got?
Yeah, I mean, I got a 9.5 on the Soto, so very pleased with that. I got a 5.5 on the Jeter, and I thought it was going to be a little higher, but the surface came back rather shitty.
Okay.
So the surface brought it down. I thought maybe it had a chance to be a 6 or a 7, honestly, because you could see the corners and edgings. It's a '93 card. At the time, however old I was in 1993, I probably didn't handle it as well as I should have.
Wait,
Uh,
this wasn't something you bought
I,
like
I've I've
in
bought for a
adulthood?
handful of them. I traded for a handful of them, and I pack pulled one at a convenience candy store. Had 93 SP packs on the shelf. I remember pulling it from that pack. I can't tell you which one I sent in. I don't know which one I
So
acquired or I pulled from a pack.
so
But
this is not something you bought when you were 14 at like Steve's. This is something that you bought more recently.
over the years, I mean, it's been a long
Yeah,
time I've been collecting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
yeah.
mean, I got a lot of them, so I couldn't tell you. I wish I actually labeled, each one like with a stick or something. Here's what I got it for and when. And I'm really not a spreadsheet guy, so I don't know which one it was. It could have been one I got in a trade. It could have been one I bought. Not sure.
But overall, happy. Give me a grade on your overall level of satisfaction with HGA.
I have no complaints. I have no complaints. Listen, you wait for I don't care about turnaround times, me personally. Now, if I did a 10-day service level because like I pulled a big time card, I'd probably be a little bit upset if I'm not getting it back in the guaranteed time because you're paying for that service level so that you can get it up and sell it.
Yeah,
You're not paying for a 10-day turnaround and putting it in your safe.
yeah.
You're just not doing it. So for me, 60-day turnaround, it comes when it comes.
Okay. I mean,
For as far
and
as I'm concerned, and the labels look cool, the cards are cool. I'm very satisfied. I didn't have any of the horror stories you're hearing about constantly online. Everything was great. They told me when they received the cards, you can actually look on your submission forms that are held online. It can tell you every time there's an update to your submission. So
yeah.
it can tell you when it's researched, when it's scanned, when the labels are printed, when it's being shipped. They constantly you get constant updates, and then they tell you when it's packed and gone.
Nice. And PS, we have zero professional affiliation with HGA. We're not receiving any money for this analysis
Oh,
or this
listen, it's a
review.
perfect storm. Like I said in one of the early episodes, I've never got anything graded before. This is the first time I got anything graded, but it happens to come at a time where PSA and BGS are closed. So who the
Well, I
heck
mean,
knows?
you listen to some of the other podcasts, and anytime anybody talks favorably about one brand or another, everybody gets all panties in a bunch and, they're shilling for blah, blah, blah. So I just want to make it clear that we have zero affiliation with HGA and we're not receiving any money for your review of the product.
No, it was good stuff, start to finish. I enjoyed it. I have multiple more submissions out, and I plan on doing multiple more if things continue the way they're doing.
Yep. Just on a personal note, we have a Christian Pulisic rookie kaboom at HGA right now, hoping to get an American flag slab on there because he is in the U.S. men's national team. So our fingers are crossed that we'll have a sweet looking, pretty much, I would think, one of one card, when it comes back, hopefully with a good grade on it.
Yeah, I mean, with an American flag label, I mean, granted, you want the best grade possible, but the card's just going to look sick.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. So anyway, on that note, anything else you want to chat about before we wrap up for today?
No, guy, you're looking at the clock, so we should probably
Yeah,
kill it.
well, we're approaching 50 minutes, so you just want to make sure that we try to get this done in under an hour.
No, I'm good. Stay tuned for a BGS PSA rant.
Yeah, guy, get off my lawn. See you next week.